So the most common doubt the students have is, what are the topics that I need to prepare for the aptitude section? Now, aptitude section, if I say generally, is very broad, and if you actually see the GATE syllabus in any of the GATE websites, you don't have specific topics that have been mentioned under aptitude, right? So we'll try to understand a little bit more about this aptitude section. So the GATE aptitude section carries a solid 15 marks irrespective of the main papers that you take, whether it's EC or EEE or civil or CS or mechanical, whatever department you're from. It has 5 1-mark questions and 5 2-mark questions, like 5 plus 10, it's a total of 15 marks solid. Now, although the entire GATE paper has both MCQ and NAT questions, that is the multiple choice questions and the numerical ability questions, that is, to put it in simpler terms, choose the best answer and fill in the type of questions. The aptitude questions for the past few years have mostly been the MCQ types. Okay, so what is about it? In an MCQ question, every correct answer gets you either a 1 mark or a 2 mark, depending on whether it's a 1 mark question or 2 mark question. But in an MCQ question, if you give a wrong answer, it leads to 1/3 of the question value being negative marks. Meaning, if you get a 1 mark question wrong, you get minus 0.33. And if you get a 2 mark question wrong, you get minus 0.66. Now, on a level of how the question is, the questions are comparatively easier when you compare a bank exam or a CAT exam, which is the CAT, which is considered one of the toughest of all the aptitude exams, right? Now, one very important thing that you need to understand is there's a 15-mark section. As you know, unlike some other exams, GATE has no concept of sectional cutoffs. So they're only taking into account your overall marks, and this 15 marks can be a very important factor in the rank determination. Okay, so you need to be able to score as much as possible. Now we'll try to understand what are the topics that are there. Any aptitude can be broadly classified into 3 different sections. One is the quants, other is the DI and LR section, that is the data interpretation and logical reasoning section. Third one will be the verbal section. So what I have tried to do here is that we have tried to analyze over the past few years what are the topics that have been asked in each of the section. Understand, this is an analysis of the topics in the last 3 years, GATE 17, GATE 18 and GATE 19 across all the sets. There are some years where, for example, in GATE 2019, we had 2 different civil papers, that is civil set 1 and civil set 2. So we have tried to take into consideration all the sets across all the departments in the past 3 years, right? So when it comes to the quants and DI section, we could see these are the topics that has had a good amount of questions. And if you note, the topics in numbers, time and work and geometry, generalized, the very traditional quant section has a good amount of weightage, also followed by simple equations, percentages and profit and loss, all these things. Now, it doesn't end only with this. You have another some topics like quadratics or inequalities, progressions, right? There are 2 main areas that you need to ensure that you're preparing. One is permutation and combination, which has been asked very frequently and very repeatedly in different fashions, right? And the data interpretation section. Okay, so to sum it up, when it comes to quants and DI, these are the topics that have been asked in the past few years, and your focus needs to be on your predominant focus, although you need to study all the topics, your focus needs to be on the numbers, time and distance and time and work, percentage profit losses, geometry and mensuration, permutation and combination, and more importantly, data interpretation. These are maybe some few topics where you can put your utmost focus on when it comes to the aptitude section. So this is for the quants and DI part. Now if we go to the LR part, the logical reasoning part, seating arrangements, these are very traditional topics when it comes to LR. GATE, LR section questions have not deviated too much from the traditional questions. So you have the numbers and letters in sequence and series kind of questions, coding and decoding, blood relation based questions, Venn diagram based questions, seating arrangements which we have seen a good amount of questions, clocks and calendars. So these are your LR sections, right? Now when it comes to the verbal section, there are only 3 topics that is always there, or the verbal section itself has only 3 subsections. One is the grammar part, which is having a comparatively lower weightage. But when it comes to vocabulary and critical reasoning, this is a very important section when it comes to the verbal part in GATE. So these topics may be very, very important in terms of your preparation, and your full performance in aptitude will be seriously important when compared to the final mark or your final position with respect to the gate.